For generations, gardeners were taught something that seemed completely logical. If you want healthy soil, dig it, turn it, break it up, loosen it, every season, every year, again and again, because how else could roots grow? How else could air enter the soil? How else could nutrients spread properly? It sounds sensible, and for a long time, almost nobody questioned it, but over the last few decades, something unexpected happened. Farmers, researchers, market gardeners, and backyard growers around the world started running an experiment. They stopped digging, not for a week, not for a month, for years, and what they discovered surprised almost everyone, because in many cases, the soil improved, plant growth improved, water retention improved, and the amount of work required actually decreased. So what happens when you stop digging your soil? The answer begins underground, because soil is not dirt, at least not in the way most people imagine. Healthy soil is alive, filled with worms, fungi, microorganisms, tiny insects, root networks, and countless biological processes happening every second. When you dig deeply, you don't just move soil, you disturb an entire ecosystem. Imagine lifting a city into the air, shaking it violently, then dropping everything back randomly. Roads destroyed, connections broken, systems interrupted. That's essentially what happens underground every time soil is heavily disturbed. The first thing many gardeners notice after stopping digging is more earthworms, a lot more. And earthworms are incredibly important because worms naturally loosen soil. They create channels, improve drainage, increase airflow, and transport organic matter deeper underground for free, 24 hours a day, without fuel, without machinery, without effort. When soil is disturbed repeatedly, Wamakar first or Jordanio, or Makristini, Iganafar dem. Populations often decline, but when digging stops, they begin rebuilding the structure naturally. Another surprising change is improved moisture retention. Most people assume digging helps water penetrate the soil, and initially, it often does. Freshly dug soil looks loose, open, easy to work, but over time, something different happens. Rain falls, gravity acts, soil settles, and the structure collapses. The surface can become compacted again surprisingly quickly. Undisturbed soil behaves differently, because stable soil develops natural structure, worm tunnels, root channels, organic matter, microbial activity, all working together. Water moves deeper, stays available longer, and evaporation decreases. This is one reason many no-dig gardeners water less frequently than expected. Another major change happens below the surface. Fungal networks expand. Most people never think about fungi in the garden, yet they're essential. Certain fungi form partnerships with plant roots, helping plants access nutrients, helping transport water, improving resilience during stress. These networks can stretch astonishing distances underground, connecting multiple plants, sharing resources, creating stability, but digging breaks those networks repeatedly. Every season, every time the soil turns. When digging stops, the networks remain intact, and over time, they become stronger. Now here's where things become really interesting. Weeds often change too. This surprises many gardeners, because people expect weeds to become worse without digging. Sometimes the opposite happens. Here's why. Many weed seeds remain buried underground, dormant, inactive, waiting. Digging brings those seeds back to the surface, where sunlight triggers germination. Suddenly, thousands of seeds wake up, and the gardener spends months fighting weeds. When digging stops, fewer buried seeds reach the surface, which often means fewer new weeds emerge over time. Not zero weeds, but often fewer than people expect. Another hidden benefit is reduced erosion. Bare disturbed soil is vulnerable. Wind removes it, rain washes it away, nutrients disappear, organic matter declines. Healthy undisturbed soil resists erosion much better, especially when protected by mulch, ground cover, or living roots. This protection becomes increasingly valuable year after year. Now let's talk about roots, because roots reveal something fascinating. Plants naturally push through soil far more effectively than most people realize. They don't need perfectly loose conditions everywhere. They need pathways, moisture, biological activity, and stable structure. Healthy, undisturbed soil often provides exactly that. In fact, some studies have found deeper root systems in no-dig environments compared with regularly cultivated soil. Why? Because the structure remains consistent, the environment remains stable, and roots can develop naturally without constant disruption. Another thing gardeners notice is less work. Much less work. Think about it. No annual digging, no turning beds repeatedly, no heavy cultivation, no major soil disturbance. Instead, organic matter gets added to the surface. Nature does the rest. Worms move it downward, microorganisms process it. The ecosystem distributes resources naturally. This feels strange at first, because many gardeners associate effort with results. More work must mean better outcomes, right? Not necessarily. Sometimes, better systems reduce effort. That's exactly what many no-dig gardeners discover. Now here's an important point. Stopping digging doesn't create instant results. This isn't a miracle transformation. The first season may look similar, the second season may show modest changes, but over several years, the differences often become substantial. Healthier soil, better structure, improved moisture management, greater biological activity. That's why patience matters. You're not building a quick fix, you're building a system. Another common concern involves compaction. People ask, if I stop digging, won't the soil become hard? It's a reasonable question, and sometimes compaction can occur, especially in heavily trafficked areas. But healthy biological activity often solves much of the problem naturally. Earthworms, roots, organic matter, freeze-thaw cycles, all help loosen soil over time. The solution isn't always mechanical disturbance. Sometimes the solution is biological activity. Another unexpected result is improved resilience during extreme weather. Heavy rain, drought, heat waves. Healthy structured soil handles stress better. Water infiltrates more effectively. Moisture remains available longer. Roots penetrate deeper. The entire system becomes more stable. And stability matters enormously in gardening. Now let's address a common misconception. No-dig gardening does not mean doing nothing. This isn't neglect. It's management through different methods. Mulching, compost application, observation, plant diversity, soil protection. These things still matter, perhaps more than ever. The difference is that you're working with soil processes instead of repeatedly disrupting them. And that's an important distinction. Nature already knows how to build soil. Forests prove it, grasslands prove it. Natural ecosystems build incredible soil without anyone digging them every year. Organic matter falls, biology processes it, structure develops naturally, the system improves continuously. No-dig gardening borrows from that principle, not by copying nature perfectly, but by cooperating with it. Now here's what surprises many gardeners most. The garden often becomes quieter, less reactive, less demanding, fewer extreme swings, fewer emergency interventions, more stability, more predictability, more resilience, and that's because healthy soil acts like a foundation. When the foundation strengthens, everything above it benefits. Plants grow more consistently, water behaves more predictably, biological activity increases, and the entire garden feels different, not overnight, but gradually, year after year. That's what happens when you stop digging your soil. You stop rebuilding the system repeatedly and allow the system to rebuild itself instead. The worms return, the fungi expand, the structure strengthens, the biology increases, and over time, the soil begins doing what healthy soil was designed to do all along: work with you. Instead of constantly needing to be worked on,